Ayun, we're live again for another episode of HR Shouts and Whispers, episode number, teka lang, number 68 na tayo. Ang topic natin for tonight, syempre, solid to. New Year, New Directions. We're live again for another episode of HR Shouts. So, syempre, it's Ken Somera and ang main host natin, Cristina Reclamado. Hi, Chris.
Yes, hi Ken. So how was your Christmas?
Syempre, solid na happy holidays yan. Enjoy.
Well, so this is our last episode for the year, okay? But not the end of our FP lives, okay? So we just came together with our special guests and we have the moderators and admins of HR Shout. So, diba? Okay, full cast ngayon tayo. Okay, so, and then for tonight's topic, New Year, New Directions. Okay, so we've invited two people because well, first is they were brave enough to embark on a business or continue their business for 2020 despite the obstacles. So let me just introduce. Okay, so first I met him in the HR community, and he was active also with Philippines HR. And well, this year, okay, he opened his business venture. So it's TerraPlantae Philippines. Okay, so it's about terrariums. Okay, so hi Froilan, how are you?
Hello, Merry Christmas and advance New Year. Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone.
Yes. So you're wearing green.
Yes.
Uh, so how was your journey this year, Froilan?
Well, actually, it was just accidental. So, I've started to be fascinated with terrarium when I discovered it on Facebook. Dumaan lang sa feed ko that there was this man in the US yata na meron siyang terrarium na six decades na hindi nabubuksan. So I tried my luck in creating one, and then I did my research. Sabi ko parang wala pang masyadong malaking community. So sabi ko mukhang niche na industry to na market. So I tried my luck in July. Nag-post ako, then I started creating the group, and fast forward to December, prosperous na siya ngayon. So it was accidental, and yun, nagulat din ako sa progress.
So we'll discuss later why you went into terrariums. Okay, so we'll call on a green person. There, I'm just kidding. Okay, so well, she's known in the freelancing circle naman. Okay, and she is actually a technopreneur, and she's an ethical design thinking advocate. So we have Miss Olivia Escartin. Hi, Green Olivia.
Hello, good evening. Hi, thank you for having me here.
Kamusta naman ang 2020 mo?
2020 has been a year of clarity for me. And right now, just to highlight, I have a different background because I'm at home. So I'm pampered today, this Christmas season.
Yeah, it's a time to rest also and relax.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so we'll go back to Froilan, Olivia, okay? Because, okay, Froilan has an interesting story. So I met him in the HR community, but surprise, surprise, he's not an HR. He's not into HR. He's into operations. So what were you doing?
Ayun, so I've been active in the HR community, but I'm handling operations. So it's kind of funny kasi um I've delved deeper into the HR facet, pero ang hinahandle ko talaga is operations. So nagsimula kasi yung the journey started when um when I accepted an offer somewhere in Negros, and then medyo nagkaroon ako ng character assassination with the previous company. So sabi ko, I don't wanna make the same mistake again na magpunta sa isang organization without knowing the history behind or yung mga feedback or yung mga or mga comments ng people. Actually, there was one comment that it was mentioned to me na medyo the culture was not great, pero syempre maganda yung offer, and then The offer was great, and then the position was great. So I accepted it. Then I made a mistake. So sabi ko, when I go back in Manila, um, I will not make the same mistake again. So naghanap ako ng feedback for another company I applied for. Tapos wala siya online. So sabi ko, parang delikado yung, go into another another organization na walang malang sinasabi people online. So it was scary. So sabi ko, why not make a survey about it, or yung parang local version natin ng Glassdoor. So I did make one in 2018 up to 2019 at 2020, yes.
Okay, so you are into operations, so not HR. You were doing line management. So is this a BPO company?
This is a shared services with a BPO setup right now.
I see. Okay, and so you mentioned that you created your own study. Okay, like was adapted from the Gallup survey. So can you elaborate more on that, Froilan?
So I created my survey. So it's for employee experience kasi we've been using the term employee engagement for the longest time. So employee engagement, it's about the engagement of the people, their commitment to work and all. So then I realized itong year lang then when I had my prior talk with the same HR group of Darwin and D. So everybody knows D and Cot. So um, I checked another term again. I believe it's now called employee life cycle or employee experience. So the employee experience kasi is the totality na andun na engagement, andun na yung relations, andun na rin yung mga empowerment, andun na rin yung organizational culture and all. So I checked the Gallup survey. I've also checked IBM. I've also checked several other engagement survey. And I created my own. So para siyang, it's a meta-analysis of the previous ones. Kasi I've seen na there are questions that are redundant. So I composed several questions. Pinagsama-sama ko sila all together. And I also checked with some HR consultants to see kung appropriate ba yung questions, or is it right for the people. So kaya nakapag-come up ako with my own, I called it temp check. So ayun, I launched in 2018.
So temp check. Okay, so it's like your organizational climate survey.
Correct.
Yes. So anyway, so how do you define true employee engagement, Froilan?
Okay, the true employee engagement is it's about the entire life cycle of the employee within the organization. It starts when you try to attract the talent. So it starts with the employer branding. So how do people see your organization outside, and paano nila siya narinig yung organization mo outside before you invite the talent to come in. And then when the talent comes in, doon na nagsisimula yung employee experience. So that's the middle part. Ando na yung engagement, uh, ando na yung lahat. Incorporated na yung culture, the cultural fit, as well as yung the journey of the person. And then nagsisimula naman yung third phase when the employee starts to feel na it's about time to go. So it's pre-entry and then entry and then the exit part. So the exit part starts when, sabi nga kanina, when the employee starts to feel na it's about time. Parang I need to move on, I need to find another organization. And it ends when 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 the employee starts to journey towards that. So exit interview, because it's very important about exit interview. If it didn't happen, hindi na kompleto yung entire life cycle of the employee in the organization.
Yeah, so it's important to go to it, okay, the entire life cycle, because HR should be able to ask and do the exit interviews to ask feedback. Okay, so what could have been improved? Anyway, let's move to, yes, so that's the corporate setup. So let's move to Olivia, because Olivia manages remote teams. Ito yung tinatawag natin home-based professionals. Is that correct, Olivia?
Yes, yes, that's correct. So I basically have two tech startups. I also used to work sa corporate for 15 years, so no more math. Uh, and currently I run two tech startups, and then there's another new one actually. Um, and then I have a digital marketing company. All of them are remote staff. Almost the whole Luzon yung region, like from Batangas, I mean even up to Batangas yung remote staff, no? Yeah. So that's I've been running that for almost 4 years now.
So how is your, do you encounter, okay, this kind of mga issues like low employee engagement, demotivation, etc.? So how do you manage them?
I'm quite lucky that I came from companies who actually had a very good structure. So I came from, okay lang mag-mention ng past.
Sure. Yes.
I used to work abroad, so I've been an OFW, land-based, sea-based. So like talk about how they manage people. But recently, my last corporate jobs were like with Xerox and Magsaysay. And Magsaysay is an HR company. And I saw the flow of how they do things. And I kind of like got the good parts of it. No, so I was very communicative with the whole team. Of course, but nothing is perfect. So the remote stuff was not a journey that's easy, especially ago it was not really a trend. No, but I did that anyway. I started with interns before, and the schools were really weird out. Na parang it's a remote thing, but the schools kind of like accepted my proposal. Kasi I was a legit business, and I showed portfolio and everything. So that's how it started.
So you were hiring directly from the schools?
Not exactly, but they started most of them. My first company, most of them were my former interns.
Oh, I see. So that's great. So you were able to, well, up to now they're with you, right? So you were able
Some of
to
them, yeah,
nurture them.
some of them they actually after they finish their internship, they actually work with other companies, and then after a while, because most of them, I just also learned recently that there are a lot of employments that are now contractual. So because they like how we run things, and then when I had a job opening, they went back to me.
So there are a lot of professionals, probably because they've grown wary of office-based work. They're looking into home-based work. So have you hired recently these kinds of professionals?
Recently, yes, and it's a bit. I have a little bit of a tough one. Sabi ko, lahat may first time. Even, and I have to acknowledge, no, with the training, with the NLP, from Ken, Luigi, and Jonica and everything. So I was enhancing also my communication because that was very crucial. But yun nga, nothing is perfect. I encountered a little bit of surprise recently, which I posted sa HR Whispers, and I got very very good feedback, and I realized that it could happen, any time of the day. So I have to bridge between. I mean, I have to what do you call this? Separate business and being helpful.
Yes, just to review it, okay. So you posted a question. It was about the staff. So you had a heart-to-heart talk, or you had a conversation, and
Yes.
it was a personal conversation, correct?
Yes, yes. For those who are listening, I'm used to speaking to all my team on a personal level. So I do that part of my onboarding. So with this recent incident, of course, I had to make sure also that everything is communicated.
Yeah.
So I
So,
consulted also the professionals here.
oh, so thank you for trusting the professionals in HR Shouts and Whispers. Anyway, so that's the journey of Froilan and Olivia. So they are actually I see Olivia, okay, and I've seen her work as well. And I think that her project and her company, setting up 4 companies, was very brave. And then for Froilan, who ventured into something unique, okay, he didn't go into HR consultancy, but he went into the terrarium business. So nagulat ako doon, di ba? Bongga si, si Froilan. Okay. Okay, so now we'll go to our moderators, okay? But first, okay, I know that some of you, okay, may be interested. So we'll call on looking into what happened in the retail industry. So, of course, our expert in the retail industry, okay, the insider, we'll call on Tina Koang. So, hi, Tina, how are you?
Things are good. It's December. It's our peak season at the moment.
Yes, and you
Yeah.
expanded, right? You built several
Yeah, we've expanded.
outlets. Mm-hmm.
I've added 3 because I'm expecting to close 4 next year. So, bukas konti, sarado konti. That's part of life. So, those who are not
So, but it
profitable, we're gonna close talaga.
So it's just really a matter
Yeah,
of studying and closely monitoring it. So ito
correct.
si Olivia, okay? You might want to talk to her about her. I think she had a little bit of an encounter with the staff. Okay, so I think this was like a personal issue, and it was cited as a reason for resignation. I think Olivia, am I correct?
Yes, actually, just to I can share it on a surface level. Um, the reason for the resignation was actually just being part of a conference call. Just about
Mm-hmm.
that. There was no even direct interaction. That was the reason made as part of the resignation. And I kind of like, of course, everything is also personal to me. So the first hour was like I was processing it. So
Uh,
the big deal was to ask HR.
Yes. So si Tina madaming encuentro siguro yan with her staff. So like this year, have you had staff who have resigned, Tina?
we actually don't have a lot of staff who have resigned. So
Mm-hmm.
even after receiving their 13th month pay, they're still here kasi they're February when they will receive their incentives from the peak season. However, I did notice, I think for many retail companies, there's a lot of people who experience a decrease in their 13th month. In order for us to save our employees, we had to resort to flexible work arrangement. So there came a point in during GCQ when we had workers coming in at 4 to 5 days instead of the regular 6 days. Compared to other employers, we're still fine because some employers are doing once a week or twice a week little. But given the reduction of work days, talagang malaking epekto sa basic salary. So on average, 13th month pay was reduced around parang 30% more or less across the board because of flexible work arrangement. So we have to explain how 13th month pay is computed para walang magreklamo.
So I guess it's a matter of explaining things and
Yes,
communication.
kasi before it's like is the same. We don't deduct in 13th month pay. Pero given the number of days that people were absent and not working, we really have to go bottom up instead of top down, right? Kasi you top down diba? O magkano yung monthly and then basically that's the 13th month pay. But now we can't do that anymore. We have to look at the basic salary. So there's a significant decrease of what the people were receiving.
It's
That's
about
standard across the board.
So for those non-HR people, the reason why 13th month pay was decreased because when you compute it prorated minus
Yeah.
the absences and the
Instead of
tardiness.
top down.
Yes. So
Yeah,
there.
correct.
So because of the reduced working hours and the reduced work days, because of the pandemic. So
Yeah.
that's it. So that's how you compute 13th month for this year. Anyway, so we'll leave that on the page. Maybe they will be asking more about that. So let's go to the main business. Okay, so let's ask people, okay, what they learned. Kasi, di ba, new year, new direction, okay? Eh, yung mga, ano na yan, kaperahan na yan, they'll be forever with HR, especially payroll. But anyway, so let's ask, okay, people, their journey through 2020, what they learned, and how they will adopt those learnings for 2021. So let's start with beauty ba or age. Tanananan. Okay. Anyway, I see here, ito, ano to, beauty daw eh. George, what did you learn for 2020? Hi, George.
Hi, hi, hi. Ako for 2020, saan ba, Cristina? Sa HR ba? Or overall? How
Overall,
do you want it to be?
personally, like how were
Ah,
you affected in 2020? Okay.
so, syempre lahat naman affected, no? But siguro for HR, one of the things that I've learned this year is yung increase talaga ng throughput ng talent everywhere, no? What I mean by this, because the jobs have actually there are two sides of the story kasi. One is if you go traditional, jobs have been reduced, no? But if you go naman online and if you go naman into smaller businesses who are setting up their presence online, nag-increase naman. So that being said, you're seeing also an influx of different skill sets, multi-skill sets that are coming out. So if you were, let's say, a generalist before, or no, no, sorry, if you were a specialist before, right now you're seeing a lot of people who are going into generalist directions, and that's because the job requires a person to be a generalist, no? Ang daming trabahong lumalabas ngayon na kailangan multiple hats, and ako, there are a couple of companies that I'm working with right now na they had to let go of a couple of specialists just in favor of being able to get and replenish new work opportunities, no, with more general, multi-faceted roles, no. So yun yung isa kong nakita this year, and the ability also, so from the side of the HR naman, as a servicing unit, I've seen so much of our folks, no, uh, who have adapted really quickly. Ang HR ngayon, as in lahat ginagawa na, no? So that's just because of what happened, and I guess the agility that goes behind it. So yun, that's what I learned so far, no, this year, and I think that's still going to push through by 2021. Mas maraming opportunities are coming up. Like an example might be, like, I'm sure a lot of people here are from the BPO industry or formerly from the BPO industry. In one way or the other, you've worked with the BPO industry. BPOs are shrinking, but they're going community based. No? So that's going to be a big market that's coming in, and that's going to be a big opportunity. When I say community based, there is the freelancing space, which is home based. Lahat kayo na bahay, pero meron din community based, no? Like a company will outsource 100 seats, pero sa probinsya, let's say in Bulacan, in Pampanga, in Davao, tapos 50, tama na yon. 50 seats, 100 seaters, okay na yon. No? So those are what we're seeing right now. So yeah, very very good dynamics in the marketplace right now.
Yeah, so if you're in HR, it would be best to upskill, right? Because the direction is being a generalist in orientation. So when you're a generalist, yeah, this is what happened, George, right? Like the specialists, especially training. Okay, so training specialists and those who are in training, in a way, kawawa sila because they're well, the discipline, okay, is just it's too specialized, okay, and then there, in a way, because people have been let go, there was no one to train or less people to train, so the companies had to just outsource that service from a training company. So this, some companies have upskilled or retrained their training specialists to do engagement work. So yon ang ginawa nila, hindi naman ni let go necessarily, okay, but it still pays to, have know a variety of HR facets, okay. I mean, especially compensation and employee relations. So I guess that is what we see, like a trend next year. Okay, so people will be going into more serious training in employee relations and probably compensation and benefits. Okay, so that's for HR. Then let's go into the fun stuff. Okay, so let's call on Ken, our resident expert on the fun stuff. Hi, Ken.
Anong fun stuff?
Fun stuff. I don't know how to call it. Yun,
Ayan,
katarantaduhan.
kamusta? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have fun. Tara.
So I can see, okay, so we have a couple of people who are watching us. So hi to Jelly Navarro. Okay. So since we have some millennials watching us, so what are fun things to do?
Fun
Okay.
things to do. Madami. Siyempre, marami pa rin factors involved, lalo na pandemic pa rin. Some gather, yung small gatherings lang, siyempre, natutuloy pa rin naman yan. Basta siyempre, kung sure ka naman at may tiwala ka naman dun sa mga kaibigan mo, tutuloy pa rin yan, mga inuman. There are lots of like party games na nakikita natin ngayon na nauuso. Mga drinking games or mga games na yung mga may mga parang sa table, tapos may mga levels ng basta iro-roll mo yung mga gamit, tapos pag umabot doon sa part na yun, sa'yo na yun. So there are like families doing that. There was a game na uso ngayon 2020. It's called Among Us. For big families, like mga nasa 8 people, mga ganyan, they could have fun playing Among Us. 8 to 10 people naman yun. Minsan magpipinsan, magkakaibigan. It's a game like parang kung nalaro niyo yung killer-killer, parang werewolf before, something like that. It's fun pa rin. For a lot of people, playing games pa rin is the way to go. Pero again, for those who want to grow and learn then, meron pa rin mga workshops, di ba? Mga workshops that people attend. May mga speed dating, speed friending events na lumalabas. So it looks very fun for people that like kasi we get messages din sa HR Shouts and Whispers minsan parang ano yung gagawin ko, it's been too long na nandito ako sa bahay. I think hindi na ako magaling mag-communicate sa tao. I need to practice this. So there are events online for that purpose naman. Syempre, yun, Zoom, Google Meet, there are, yun, kailangan mo lang meron mga ganong platforms to join in.
So yeah. So masyado siya na-isolate, hindi na siya marunong mag-interact sa mga tao.
Meron. That's becoming a problem din.
So why don't you call on like Luigi and Jonica? Okay, so I guess you guys have like an event, an NLP event this coming March.
Yeah. Si Luigi Manyosa is one of the very active hypnotherapists that I know in the field, working with anxiety, depression, and the lots. Then same with Jonica, who's a very good mindset coach. Then so yeah, Luigi, anything to share, pare?
Yo. Hello, guys. Okay naman yung audio? Malinaw naman, no?
Malinaw.
Hi, Chris.
That's
Hi, guys. Hello. Finally, I'm here na, no?
Yan, advance happy
Thanks.
birthday.
Okay, guys. So, for the viewers of HR Shouts, hi sa inyo lahat. And belated Merry Christmas. So share daw. Okay, so what do you want me to share, guys?
What's up,
Is it about
pare?
the
In
NLP
in
or the
in the
learnings? Let me know
learnings,
which one.
pare, learnings 2020, and what do you look forward to the like coming year?
Okay, sige, let's start with that. Thanks, Ken. So learning, actually, kanina nung mention to ni Chris before we went live, paisip lang ako, what did I really learn and or what can I share with the people of HR Shout? So, doon ko na siya pinag-isipan and ang unang pumasok sa isip ko is stop, drop, and roll.
Okay,
Okay?
stop, drop,
So,
and roll.
yeah. So, we know kung saan natin madalas ginagamit yun when there's fire. Correct? So, pag nasusunog yung isang tao, that's what they need to do to survive. And right now, the fire symbolizes all of the problems, all of the challenges na dumating sa buhay ng isang tao. And all we need to do, actually, is very simple. We just need to stop, drop, and roll. So what do we need to stop? Or like, what does that look like? Pag feeling mo sobrang bigat na, all you have to do is pause. Just pause for a bit. Okay? So pause meaning just break the pattern. It can be literally pausing and not doing anything, or you can just distract yourself for a bit. So just you can get back. Now, what do you need to drop, or what do people need to drop? They need to drop their reason. Their reason for not doing what they need to do. Ito yung mga kasi, ito yung mga pero. Kasi when we're in a bad, when in a bad situation or event, at gusto nating gumanda to, gusto nating gumanda yung buhay natin, gusto natin mas maging okay, we want to achieve something, we have a goal. Madalas merong mga reason for a person na mas stuck siya. Yung mga distractions, yung mga rason nila. Basta yung mga, minsan nga, pag-iinarte lang. So ngayon, after you drop that reason, whatever it is, kasi literally just drop it or just do what you need to do. Yun yung natutunan ko yun eh. Ang dami natin pwede maging rason to not do what we're supposed to do. Kasi parang ang hirap, hindi ako sanay ng ganito, sobrang bago. Ang dami pwede maging rason na isang tao. And all they need to do if they want to survive or they want to live, they want to be in a better situation, is just do what they need to do. Just roll with whatever. So, hindi na kailangan gawing komplikado kasi imagine lang natin, yung mismong scenario na may nasusunog, hindi naman niya, uy, kailangan muna, tanggalin ko muna yung mga graba sa sahig, di ba? Hindi naman gano'n, uy, teka lang, madumi. Hindi ako pwedeng mag-roll dito, doon na lang hanap muna tayo hanggang nasusunog na siya. And
Basta
yun, nung
mag-drop ka
iniisip
na
ko,
lang.
di ba, nung iniisip ko yun, parang, alam mo, hindi naman tayo talaga, or as human beings, we can do what we want. If we just wanted to. Okay? Hindi sa lahat ng oras, kaya naman natin hindi maging maarte, kaya naman natin hindi maging choosy, kaya naman natin maging action taker talaga. We just have to do the action. So, ngayon, syempre yun nga, yun yung nakikita ko for 2021. This is the time for taking action. This is not the time for having reasons. This is not the time for having kasi or pero. This is the time for doing. Tapos na yung 2020 eh. Diba? Hindi natin kailangang ireklamo yan. So, a person dapat driven na yan by 2021. Kung hindi ka pa nakapag-prepare, dahil pang oras bago mag-end yung year. And just go for the coming year. Because it will never be the same.
Well, I like your message, Luigi, kasi there are a lot of people who still thinking of actually this stuff. Somebody posted an article and it was about yung mga like strategies to survive the politics in the office. Okay, so one was yung reklamo na toxic ang environment and I'm being micromanaged. So I was like thinking when I read that, now is not the time to think about that because people are busy surviving. And especially businesses and companies are also busy surviving.
Yes, tama. So talaga we just need to do what we're supposed to do. Alam naman natin yan eh. So minsan din natin kailangan, sabi nga nila, kailangan dapat may rason ka para gawin yung isang bagay. You need to have a deeper why or something. Not really the equation to it. You just have to do it. People just have to do it. There's no requirement needed for us to take action. We just have to take action. Eventually we'll get results. So, yun lang siguro yung payo kasi hanggang ngayon talaga, tama ka, Cristina, ang dami pa ring nagrereklamo for the situation that we are currently in. Kahit nga medyo umaayos na siya, gumaganda na siya compared to how they started. So, ayun lang. Siguro, hopefully, it can touch their hearts and allow them to take more action, to take better actions, and to just let go and drop of whatever is making them stop.
Yeah, thank you, Luigi. So how about Jonica? Can you share something like an advice for those who would want to move forward for 2021?
Yeah, hi everyone. I-share ko lang no kanina Cristina kasi meron akong nabasa sa news na merong isang pamilya na nagpakamatay. Una muna yung nanay, nagpakamatay siya nung Pasko kasi nawalan sila ng trabaho, boss nung husband nila. And then yung husband pinatay yung dalawa niyang anak, and then siya naman yung sinubukan niya magpakamatay pero he wasn't able to do so. So, given the situation, sobrang hirap sobrang challenging ng nangyayari sa atin, this 2020. And if you don't have that, resilience to move forward, if nawalan ka na ng reason why you are moving forward, you will end up giving up eh. Diba? And kaya if you ask me, ano yung pinaka-importanting skill that we need to have this pandemic? For me, it's adaptability. Okay? So adaptability is being able to, be creative and be flexible these challenging situations. So kapag nakapag-adapt ka in the situation, mas makakapag-isip ka kung anong magandang strategy ang sellable, to your audience. So like for example, sa ASI, we used to do events outside. We used to do trainings and workshops outside. And then we shifted to doing online training na lang, online workshops. And it turned out na that's better. It's a better strategy for us.
So ASI is this group with George, and Ken, right?
Yeah. It's Advanced Sales Institute. So we sell training programs to clients and of course to our public audience. So we were able to adapt and we were able to shift kung ano yung mas nagwo-work this new normal. So if you ask me, if you accept the world is already uncertain as it is, you will get that confidence to be flexible and to adapt.
Oh, kasi part of adjustment. Part of adjustment is accepting, not in being in denial.
Yes, I agree with you. And yeah, malaking factor yun. So yeah, that's for me.
Okay, thank you, Jonica and Luigi, for sharing your insights, okay? Kasi si Jonica at si Luigi with Ken, okay? So they are also with the practice of NLP. Alam mo, dito sa HR Shots, we're a diverse group and we actually banded together for this community so that when people have certain issues and they ask questions, the person, the expert, okay, can better, okay, address them, okay, and it's an advocacy work, okay. So anyway, let's go to Professor Benjamin Caruncho III. Nako, si Bench. So Bench is actually an educator. So what have you been seeing in your classroom, and how will this move towards 2021?
Okay. First off, in the classroom, the students want more engagement. So, kami naman mga teachers, we have undergone intensive training seminars. Of course, all of them online. A lot of it about the design of curricula for online delivery. Now, in spite of it all, we can only really do so much. Ang maganda sa amin in St. Paul University, Quezon City is we have resolve. And I'm very happy na I belong to this community guided by the SPC, or the St. Paul of Chartres Sisters, na when they set their minds on something, they'll make it happen. Eh. And I would like to thank my colleagues also na among us, the attitude is that of resolve and that of moving forward. So malaking bagay na na maraming uncertainties, but we are certain about resolve. Now, still the students want engagement. Naghahanap pa rin ng activities such as wala kaming sports fest. Malaking bagay sa amin 'yon because traditionally we have something like a month-long or 6-week-long sports festival. Nasubukan namin mag-esports actually noong when was that? In January this year, before all this COVID. And then I don't know, we just don't have the time, or the priorities just changed. But still, our students yearn for the more human side of working and studying, and that is for us to have time like now, magkaroon ng online Christmas caroling, and then give up our online Christmas party for faculties. We still had the Christmas lighting, which we traditionally hold every year. Meron na a setup of Christmas lights, and then lights also of the Belen and in the university. So televised or streaming, and with participation also of the various sectors. So sana daw there'd be more of it, and then siguro wag puro work. Meron you can call it an icebreaker. Ayun. What else? Learnings. Hindi namin matututunan talaga everything there is to learn about online delivery. So suffice it to say, ang maganda sa amin is we started it before the COVID times. And then we had to build up on that. We had to discover parts of our learning systems na yet underutilized, and then we're just going to have to make the most out of it. So it falls on me as the university's education technology coordinator to find out how can this be utilized, how can this be disseminated to those most in need of it. So the term ends now. We're going to evaluate the learning experiences, and then let's see what we're going to do in light of new developments coming from the Commission on Higher Education, because we heard that if things will go well, in Q1 of 2021, baka magbalik ang face-to-face classes. So I cannot speak on the matter yet because the approach has to be calibrated and it has to be gathered from CHED muna. And then personally for me, focus and purpose. So in a time like this, we're concerned about what is our place in a time full of yung VUCA, yung volatility, the uncertainty,
change.
Ano yung CNA?
Change.
Change. Ayun. We can say na maraming pwedeng gawin or what we would like to contribute our actions, but we also have to be specific about where we are. Like for example, I'm not in HR right now. I'm in a school. So it's all about the discovery of what are our other undiscovered resources. Discover them, and we have to be agile about it, and then share it. So again, nasa pagtanggap din yun na we are in these times. So you have to ground yourself dun sa ano ba ang purpose namin. We're lucky we still have students. So tuloy ang buhay. So discover what it takes para tuloy ang buhay pa rin.
Yes. And going back to the acronym book, Betch, it's C is for complexity and A is for ambiguity.
Ayun. Thank you.
Yeah, so volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Actually, sa HR and management, and I suppose in a lot of disciplines concerning people management, we've dealt with the VUCA framework. Yun nga. So, para sinasabi lang dito, we just have to evolve, okay, and be agile because we are in this kind of environment where you're faced with a lot of changes. And mabuti sana kung change lang, but the change bring in complex issues and also ambiguity. Yung hindi mo alam na naaalangan ka, di ba? Yes. Yeah. So that's anyway, I was going to ask you, so how do you teach, okay, right now? So the classes ran for how many hours? And then is it like purely online or do you have like offline time?
Yeah. Yeah, sige. For the curious observer and how do we teach? So napag-usapan kasi sa amin na bigyan ng pagkakataon ng mga students to work on the materials that are prepared for them. So for example, in a 3-hour per week class, I'm doing kasi Saturdays eh.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 hours ba? No. It's tama, 3 hours per class, and then 1 hour of that is devoted for their exposure with me. Yun ang tinatawag na synchronous online class na oras ko, oras nila, sabay. So we came to an agreement. Teachers should come to an agreement na this is our time. If this is the total time, then there is a significant fraction of that time na for synchronous online classes, and then the rest asynchronous. So what does that mean para sa amin who are working remotely and then hindi na kami naririnig o nakikita ng live? We have to support. So hindi kami umaalis sa upuan namin. We're there to support. For example, questions and clarifications, and there will be a lot because it's different kapag nandyan ka. It's different if you're within reach. And then and we have to put up with we have to be extra patient also because not everybody has the same level of telecommunications abilities or capabilities. So students and teachers. So depende rin kasi dun sa service area ng kanilang mga telcos. So suffice it to say, we have the basics in getting connected, but yung kasi, yung capability is not really the same. So we have to bear with each other. So ang is to be there to support.
Sa'yo, love.
Here. Kapag
I-watch mo muna.
asynchronous classes na, yung let them do the work, may assessment sila, it's a big deal to always just be there when you're needed. Pero
yes.
lagay nyo sa usapan yung yung sa agreement yung this is the time frame that we have to work with para we're in sync with that. Ayun.
So like for example, you have to structure your lecture so you occupy the synchronous time, okay? So you're face to face with them and then you deliver your lecture. And then afterwards, okay, you go offline, but they, kumbaga, in layman's terms, okay, they have to do a seat work or they can do consultation, or maybe this is the time that they can do their term papers and they can ask questions from you on how to go about certain yung mga certain issues nila with doing their term paper.
Oo. Yeah, so that talaga then there has to be an agreed structure. So parang as with any other employer then, there has to be agreed structures. How the students wish also na na raw mag homework because for one we're already at home.
Well, kailangan
pagkasayin sa time frame yung whatever it is that they needed to do.
So, well, I'd just like to ask people here, okay? So you guys, okay, how did you view homework? Do you like homework? Si Lawrence, matawa si Lawrence. Okay, so
I kind of medyo relatable kasi I'm still studying Spanish and we still get homework.
So Lawrence, okay, so she's studying.
So for me, it's it's kind of helpful just because of course I'm learning a foreign language and it's entirely different to what we're usually doing. Siguro for retention, memory retention lang for us, but yeah, I think it's very helpful.
Yes. So some people kasi also like professionals, they can already do online. Okay, so online yung mga webinars and it's quite convenient. Okay, and ang daming webinars during the pandemic. So there. In fact, HR Shouts also, we came up with our own set of webinars and, a lot of groups, even ito nga, yung grupo nila Ken, okay, and then ng LLP. Anyway, Lawrence, can I ask you, you're in recruitment, so how is recruitment? So is it a time where where companies are recruiting, or is it like is it slow? Okay.
Well, yes and no. For example, the industry that I'm in is more of real estate advertising. So the company is growing and most e-commerce companies are growing kahit na ganitong season. However, the challenge for these companies when it comes to the traditional companies, ito naman yung time na medyo naglalaylo sila in terms of hiring. So if you're an active job seeker, talaga I would recommend you check out openings from jobs, e-commerce, kasi now's the time that they're actually growing. So lumaki yung demand. And for us in recruitment, actually maraming talent sa market. But yun nga, kagaya na sabi ni George earlier, we're leaning towards becoming a general instead of a specialist. So talagang kailangan mo mag-upskill on your, of course, capabilities just for you to also get another role, just for you to, or while waiting if you're unemployed for another job.
Okay, so thank you, Lawrence. Okay, so this is so things are, if you're in the e-commerce or probably fintech industry, I think recruitment there, okay, it's been robust because they had to fill, because of the expansion, they have to fill certain positions. But in certain industries, okay, where it's severely affected by the pandemic, then there might not be any openings. Okay, so very interesting study by our content partner JobStreet. So customer service industry, okay, so it still is consistently been hiring from March up to now. So there are a lot of openings still in the BPO industry. Anyway, last but not the least, we'll call on, okay, Dr. Flor Winoga. Hi, Doc Flor, are you there?
Good evening and Happy New Year for everyone.
So, Doc?
Yes. I'm sorry. Medyo may problema ako sa sa video ko.
It's okay. It's okay. So you're here and people can hear you also and see you. So see, Doc Flor joined us as a moderator of HR Shouts, and she is, well, a proponent of mental health, okay, in the corporate world. So Doc Flor, okay, what is your assessment
Well, if before, according to the study of DOH and validated by World Health Organization, there are one for every 5 Filipinos. There is one person probably experiencing something that has something to do with mental health issues. Probably because of the COVID, because of the pandemic, it might become not only 1:5. I don't know yet, but supported by other studies, it may have increased already. So what I heard a while ago with regards to the family who committed suicide and then killed the 2 children, this is another case of mental health. So uh, I guess we need to really implement the Republic Act 11036 for everybody to at least have understanding of mental health issues. If before, for example, it has become a kind of a taboo issue like cancer. Nowadays, we need to discuss about these things because it's happening. It's happening. The lockdown in itself, it is considered as a kind of Bartolina. This is the highest form of punishment. And me as already a senior, since March, I haven't been outside of my... and there was a time that I was not allowed to enter a mall.
Yes.
But I have to think otherwise. I have to believe that it is for my own good. So we have to transform into positive thinking. So I guess this is something that we need to accept because if we are angry about these things, we become distressed. Maybe we will have some kind of mental health issues also, and it's being manifested in the behavior of anyone. So I guess we need to accept this kind of new normal. Is it already normal? It's not. And as what another person here said, we have to adapt, we have to adjust. Like what Charles Darwin said, the only species that can survive is the species that can adapt. So we need to adapt. Again, Benj said that in teaching, like right now, I have to study about, in UAP, I have to teach MS in OD, but I have to also undergo a kind of training with regards to, I'm not techie, with regards to how this is being done, the synchronous and asynchronous. So I have to study again and understand what this is all about. I have to research what this is all about, the synchronous and asynchronous. And I have a lot of clients that, they have some kind of mental health issues also.
I see. So, well, actually, it was because first, okay, we were just forced to be at our home, so we felt that we were confined. So, do you agree that there are a lot of couples that broke up during this time, Dr. Floor?
I think so because closeness, being locked down in a cabin fever, like a cabin fever, there is no option. But if you're angry and irritable, there is a kind of projection. We call that as projection. And so we project against the closest person in our area. So that's the reason why they hurt people. There is a tendency for violence because you cannot go out, you cannot project it outside. So that's the reason why there are a lot of violence within, in fact, the family or the house.
Okay, so you tend to unleash your anger.
Yes, that's correct. There should be a way to unleash the anger. But then we are in a lockdown, all the more because there is a new breed in UK. Hi, George.
Yes, George is George when he used to work with you, right?
Yeah, I used to be the consultant of his company before.
I think from the story George was younger. So how was George when he was younger? Sorry, George, I put you on the spot.
Well, he's a very active man, and we maintained our relationship from time to time. We see each other, George, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Galing
So
yan. Magaling na mentor yan si Miss Flor. Galing na mentor yan.
I'm already a senior, George. When we met, I was around 40s at the time. So how time flies. So
yeah, so
Ben used to be my student in business coach, isn't it? You attended one of my training in business coach?
Hindi yata.
Ito
Hindi
si
yata.
Benji. Si Benji. Oo. Si Benji.
so
Oh.
yun. So you
Ngayon
have
sabi ng business coach sa akin, mag face to face. Sabi ko, hindi ko po kaya. Kasi yung COVID nandito pa eh. It's a decision.
It's harder if you're immunocompromised, okay? So you belong to a demographic that your immune system is weaker than the average person. So it will be hard. Anyway, so balik tayo. So si Doc Floor mentioned this cabin fever and then, unleashing anger. So actually, this all goes around. Babalik na naman tayo kay Froilan. So Froilan, yung terrarium mo, what does it serve? Okay. So is it very, relaxing?
Well, I did some research on terrariums and hobbies in general. So sabi nila kasi the plants and then nature can relax us because it has something to do with stress and hormones. So I've mentioned in one of my workshops na when when we are put in a situation wherein our body or our brain can detect na nasa relaxed state siya. So like when we look at a terrarium or an aquarium or any enclosure that reminds us of nature, laging parang binibigyan tayo ng memory. It gives us the memory of once we were nung nag-travel tayo one time in a forest, or ng mga bata pa tayo, or when we used to play with the people na nasa nature. So it puts us in a situation wherein our brain can signal our body na nasa relaxed state ka. You are not in danger, you are not under stress. So nag-invert yung release ng mga hormones kasi kung you are in constant danger, so yung mga hormones na lumalabas are stress hormones. So magpapalit sila. Therefore, kaya we say na nakaka-relax, nakakatuwa, nakaka-excite, and also it triggers us the feeling na you are at peace. Walang immediate danger sa paligid. Nagkakaroon ng parang time lapse. Kasi 'di ba, sinasabi nila when you look at the terrarium, at the aquarium, di mo na mamalayan 2 hours mo na siya tinitignan kasi tinitignan mo na gumagalaw-galaw yung fish. So that's the same with terrarium kasi iniikot. Ito nga yung funny, when people get that terrarium, titingnan nila yung all sides. Kasi, di ba, when you look at nature, titingnan mo kung iba-ibang side. So, di mo na mamalayan oras na palang nakakalipas. So, relaxing, yes.
Okay, so that's relaxing. Okay, so that's why a lot of people became plantitos and plantitas during the pandemic.
Correct.
So with the group, okay, can you share things that you do to relax?
Well, aside from terrarium, so technically ito lang yung pinaka because I'm doing this for business and for fun. Well, technically for fun. Part of my what I can say is advocacy is helping people out kasi people are going into a lot of hobbies ngayon dahil anong gagawin mo sa bahay, of course, to find a hobby. And terrarium is also an easy one. So one of the things that can help me relax right now is answering the queries of people. So, tagasagot ako. Parang call center ako ngayon ng mga people asking for terrarium. So, bagay ba to? Pwede ba to? Paano ba pwedeng gamitin? Sa nakakabili? Paano nakakabili? So, I answer all of those questions. So, parang 24 hours na akong gising answering those questions. But it makes me happy kasi I get to share my passion to people, and also one thing I can share is bonding siya talaga for parents and children Kasi inaano na rin siya, ina-assignment na rin ngayon for sciences. So bonding siya for parents and children na they get to do it together, get their hands dirty. And also one tip pala for parents out there, you can use this para to distract the children from screen dependency. Kasi kung gumagawa ng terrarium, madumi kamay mo, di ka makahawak ng cellphone, di ka makahawak ng iPad, di ka makapanood ng TV. So, it distracts us sa screen dependency. So, binabawasan yung oras na, spend our time, cellphone, Facebook, and all. So, para may maiba naman, hindi lang yung Facebook ka na lang all 24 hours a day. So, iyon.
Yes. So anyway, thank you for sharing the joys of having your terrarium. And I know that you have a community as well for those hobbyists. Terrarium is called Terrarium Philippines, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Terrarium Philippines right now is the biggest, not the biggest, or probably one of the biggest, but the most active terrarium group right now locally. So we are at 1.6K na ngayon. So we're constantly growing. Ang dami-dami na pumasok ng mga beginners. So what I'm happy with it is mostly beginners na nakakahanap ng sagot doon. So madami din resident experts. So I've gathered people na experts in isopods. Ngayon narinig yung mga isopods na importante pala sa environment, springtails, glass. So with terrarium industry, nakapag-open din siya ng opportunities. Nagkaroon ng opportunities for the glass industry, for the acrylic industry, for soil, for moss, especially for the moss. Kasi I've started the campaign, I've helped started the campaign. Meron na siya before, but it wasn't as big as it is now. So I think thankful din ako for having the chance and opportunity na ma-share yun and ma-start yung business here locally.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so I'll ask si Olivia, what do you do to relax?
Oh, okay. What do I do to relax? I draw, especially recently, because my hobby is normally drawing and also tinkering with things. But to relax is to sleep and draw. Draw is a perfect way for me to also be away from screen time. Yeah, so I'm really into art.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so actually maganda yun eh. You just parang doodle some small shapes and then it create pictures, etc.
I'm planning to make a series of paintings, smaller ones. I actually bought acrylic canvas.
Okay. So let us know what you come up with, okay? Yeah, kasi like I'm also into art. So, yun. And then usually ang hobby ko tumunganga. Kasi kaya ako may background dyan sa likod ko. Kasi usually nakatunganga lang ako. 'Di ba? Parang nag-off ka lang. Okay, sleep mode, pero hindi ka tulog. Okay. How about the others? How do you take care of yourself? So how do you relax? Si Tina.
I have a different perspective kasi. To be honest, 2020 is all about perspectives. Kasi I believe that many things around us we cannot change. You cannot change if somebody in your family gets infected. You cannot change government regulations. You cannot change you being on lockdown. So the most important thing for me is perspective. There's a way for us to look at things on the bad way and think about all the bad things that's happening to us. And there's also a better perspective, which is to look at things positively. I'm actually very relaxed in 2020 despite the lockdowns, despite the government regulations, because I accept that there are things I cannot change. And for me, it's a state of mind on whether mapapa-affect ka ba sa mga nangyayari na hindi ka naman doktor, hindi ka naman boss ng kumpanya, hindi naman na sa'yo yung pera. So, for me, I'm in a state of relaxation, if that makes any sense. Kasi it's up to us whether we want to be affected or not. And then, for example, with regards to mental health, I do realize that parang 2020 enhances what is good and what is bad. So for example, if you have a good relationship with your husband, you will welcome spending a lot of quality time with your husband, as I mentioned. If you have a good relationship with that type of relationship will be enhanced in 2020. Likewise, if you have a bad relationship with your managers and your employees, konting, uy, pwede ba lockdown tayo ngayon? Sorry, hindi tayo makapasok. Magre-react talaga sila in a negative way. Because originally, before pa ng lockdown, masama na talaga yung iniisip ng tao tungkol sa kumpanya at ng HR. Nandyan na po yung pagdududa. So for me, I think 2020 really opened the doors. If you were constantly fighting with your boyfriend or girlfriend, please do not get married. Kasi 2020 shows and enhance what is bad and what is good. If you are fighting with your boss in 2020, parang for me, dapat matagal ka nang umalis sa kumpanyang yan. But you just never noticed it kasi maganda yung bonus. Right? Because every year, your company gives you a bonus and you see, ang ganda naman ng pera na binibigay sa akin, let me stay for one more year. So I think 2020 is a very big eye-opener for everybody. It shows you what is good inside your family. Ay, spoiled brat pala yung anak ko, ngayon ko lang napansin. Or your boss, parang I never realized my boss was so kind and so generous, or my boss is such a bitch. Sorry. It's really an eye opener, and I hope that people will see what's happening. Yung see talaga if your family is doing well, if your company is doing well, if you have a good relationship with your employees, and use that for guide that in your decision making. Kasi kung 2020 December hindi ka masaya, hindi ka satisfied sa 13th month pay, baka sakali the 13th month pay is not the problem. It's most likely the relationship you have with your boss and your subordinates and everything else. Yun lang talaga yung naging catalyst kung bakit ka nagtatampo ngayon. That's what I think. So it's all about perspective for me this 2020.
Well, it's true because these problems that it was just heightened, okay, because there was this big
It's just heightened.
unsolvable
Everything that
thing.
is good. Yes, everything that's good. If you have a good relationship with your husband, by December 2020, lalo kayong nagmamahalan, baka po madagdagan pa yung pamilya ninyo. Pero kung kunyari, sa March pa lang, nagkasama na kayo sa bahay, away kayo ng away, baka matagal na kayong may problema ngayon lang lumabas. That's how I think.
Oh well. So anyway, so for the companies, okay, for those who are thinking of like setting up their own businesses, okay, so they just have to build it from the foundation. Okay, so what's the foundation? Actually, one thing is you also have to, it's not just about the intangibles, okay, it's also about having the resources, okay, because as they say, okay, you have to be compassionate and you're supposed to prepare for a lot of things. But one of the things that I realized, okay, and I've been telling people is to really just manage their cash. Okay, they have to have the reserves there because they won't be able to fight it if they don't have money. It will just be plans, okay, and it will not materialize. Okay, example, when there was a time, okay, during this year that the government, correct me if I'm wrong, Tina, there was like this part that the companies are supposed to shoulder the test kits, or suggested that the test kits should be shouldered. And a lot of people asked questions. Paano kung wala kaming budget? Paano kung, then you have to have a budget. It has to be part of your contingency plan. But that's just an example of how to manage your company, okay? Manage the resources, okay, so that you're able to find. So that's just one thing I learned as a business owner
For many
for this year.
companies actually have money. Actually, a lot of companies did have the budget for the test kits and honestly speaking, kasi people have to understand, companies usually in January, February, they they release the books, the 13th month pay and the dividends to shareholders. So come the time pagdating ng January, February during the lockdown, talagang medyo for many companies nakulangan lang talaga sila ng cash. But in actuality, if you think about it, in cash are correct. And if companies really wanted to pay, they can. And if the companies cannot pay during the lockdown, they were probably in very weak cash management na by the end of the year. There will be a big cash inflow that will come. And that's not really a testament of a stable company. The company would have gone bust if not now, but probably in the next 2 years.
Yeah,
Kasi if
eventually.
you're operating without 1 to 2 months of cash, very quickly, it's just that parang the emperor with new clothes. But
Yes.
there's a lot of very strong companies right now. Yun lang ang tanong, gusto ba ng boss gumastos? Kasi sa totoo lang, depende talaga yan sa may-ari.
Yeah, because maybe they're also holding off, okay? Maybe they're waiting for developments. So it's something that has to be done. Parang, kasi what I'm saying is employees should not uh, be hasty with their judgment of their management, okay? And it's also the same with management. They should not be hasty judging their people. So they just have to meet halfway
Can
and
I
see what works.
can I give an example lang?
Mhm, mhm.
Kahapon, I had a big fight with my 5-year-old daughter because I told her no on something that she requested on. And I realized, my reflection was, people were very unhappy because many companies said no to many of their requests this year.
Mm.
And then hindi lang binigyan ng bonus, na bawasan pa yung 13th month, nabawasan pa yung sahod per month. So it's really tough for employees because employees are not used to companies saying no. 'Di ba? We're always asking for, and good years, companies usually say yes to these requests. But this year, HR is forced to say no more often than not. A lot of employees are saying, if I have a request, maawa ka naman sa akin because I'm the breadwinner of the family. So you should say yes if you love me. But in actuality, when companies say no, sometimes companies say no because they love employees. And that's the right thing to do to save the entire ship. Kasi if bigay ka ng bigay all throughout the year, even when cash is not coming in, pagdating ng 2021, magsasarado na yung kumpanya. Wala nang trabaho lahat ng tao.
Well, it's actually complex, Tita. So I'll just share with you a conversation I had just this afternoon with a client of mine. Okay, so it's a Japanese company. And actually, they're kind of not used to the culture that people are straightforward asking for bonus. Because the Japanese culture is they're used to like just follow, diba? And then the reward will happen. Okay, so that's the kind of thinking that they have. Okay, so I was just telling them, okay, so because when you're westernized or because of the culture here, because somebody asked for a raise, na-shock sila. Okay, what? Parang na-shock silang ganun. So I just told them that, well, it's people have a tendency to ask, and then of course as a company, as management, if you give to one, then you would have to consider the others. So you cannot really, at this point, you have to manage, okay? You have to have strong management of your finances and you have to study your expenses. That's just a bonus. We're talking about bonus, okay? We're not talking about the salary because salary you really need to give. But bonus, because of, it's called bonus. So it's upon the discretion of the company. Kaya lang, nasanay na kasi tayo na yung 14th month bonus na bibigay. Diba? Kasi yung mandatory 13th month bonus, tapos the extra, which is the 14th month, the 15th month, with the big companies, siguro this year, baka hindi na nila ibigay. They can still afford to give it, but maybe their holding on to their cash, baka kasi next year, there might be bigger expenses or something that they need to spend for, baka i-comply tayo ng government to spend for something else. So they're holding on to their cash. So we have to understand the situation. Yun lang. We cannot offer any other explanation, but we just have to suggest that both parties, employees and employers, should find a way to see, to see and be, to understand the situation and see it from the perspective of the other. So yun lang. Yun lang ang masasabi natin. Okay. So anyway, guys, okay. So I think that Ken, are you there? Is Ken there?
Yeah. I'm here. Yeah.
So do we have questions or comments?
Oh, wala. May comment tayo dito syempre. Si Reclamante. Here to support Tina. Thanks for always answering our questions in the group. Yun. Wala pa naman questions. Yeah.
Wala pa naman.
Yeah.
So actually, I think like everybody's like relaxing and on vacation mode. So because like yesterday, I also like spent the entire day not watching. Well, I watch home. I have this parang ano sa Netflix. Sweet Home. So I spent it. So it's so gory that it's so nice. Okay. So yun lang ang masasabi ko. All the blood, it was so relaxing. But that's just me. Okay. So guys, do you have webinars to share for January? Any announcements?
We have one coming this March 2021. We are offering an international NLP certification program. So I'm with Ken, Luigi, and George here. So we hope that you can join us, guys.
Okay, so that's the webinar. Is that a webinar?
It's a 16-day training for NLP.
Oh, I see. It's a certification program for NLP. Yeah, I've seen the announcement on our page as well. So if you're interested, so they can just like, I think there's a link there that they can use to register. So,
Yeah.
And anyway, and how about Doc Floor? Do you have any for January?
Thank you. I have continuing program on those who are interested to become a mental health coach and counselor. I can provide you with tools and techniques on how to do it. So you can confidently coach those with mental health issues. So it's an ongoing program. It's a certification also under my company.
So there are 2 certification programs that will be ongoing on January. So there. And then, well, for our viewers, so we understand maybe you're still relaxing and you just decided to, make tungaga, I think, and not watch any TV and be away from social media. So I think that this is a time to also reflect. And Ken, for next week, we will have something new. It's a little bit unique. So we will talk about fortune telling. Okay, so yes. So if you're into feng shui, okay, it's similar to feng shui. So it's Patsy or Bassi, and we will have Janet Young with us. And
Janet.
yes, and then you have to know lang first if you're a tiger, a rat, a rabbit, etc. So and she will talk about what's in store for 2021 for the signs of the Chinese zodiac.
Excited ako dun. Yeah. Janet, yeah.
Yes. So anyway, okay, guys, thank you for sharing your insights, okay, for this FB Live tonight. And for HR Shouts, we just well, invite all our members to just keep on asking those questions, okay, and keep on giving us feedback, and we'll see what we can do with them. So yeah, without further ado, we should be eating dinner na kahit separately. Okay, so guys, thank you, good evening, and I'll see you next Saturday. Bye bye.